For most buyers, it's hard to imagine just how much effort goes into turning those design sketches and shiny concept cars into the latest and greatest new models. But Kia has opened its doors to give us a taste of this normally ultra-secretive process and a world-exclusive drive of its brand spanking new Sportage.
Which is why Autotrader finds itself here, thousands of miles from home in the Mojave Desert at the Kia Californian Proving Grounds. It's home to about 4,300 acres of different test tracks and training environments, and about 80 engineers and more than a few rattlesnakes and coyotes. It's here in this desolate, harsh, hot landscape where Kia can really push its new cars to their very limit. And if they work here, they'll work just about anywhere in the world. We're going to be given a quick tour, meet some of the engineers who work on the project here, and also then head on to Death Valley to try the Kia Sportage for the first time. Facility head Matt Searle gave us a tour of the huge proving ground, and we were given insight into just a few of the tests that each new model is subjected to. Apart from the high-speed bowl, there are rough surface roads, different cambers, and even exact copies of stretches of the California highway, which Kia have measured by hand before recreating them here in the desert. We got to drive on this incredibly smooth VDA skid pan, up an extremely steep driveway based on a house in San Francisco, and tackled the off-road course. But the most interesting place here is probably the weathering station. A cross between a solar power plant and a breaker's scrapyard, it's where every piece of the car is torn apart, set on racks to bake in the sun for a year, to anticipate how paint, plastic and glass will all cope with the hot temperatures. The racks follow the course of the sun as it moves through the sky, ensuring maximum exposure, and the energy that's soaked up is all measured and monitored. After our whistle-stop tour, it was time to drive out to Nevada, where the new Sportage was waiting for us. So, after driving 200 miles east through the stunning Sierra Nevada, we find ourselves here in Death Valley. It's one of the harshest environments on Earth. We're nearly 200 meters below sea level here, and temperatures regularly reach 50 degrees centigrade. It's the consistency of the harshness of the conditions which is why Kia choose to test their cars here, and we're going to join them doing some of those tests and finding out how the new Sportage, responds. Now, as you can see, the car is very heavily camouflaged, and to give you an idea of just how far ahead of schedule we are and what an exclusive opportunity this is, we won't see the finished version unveiled until the Frankfurt Motor Show, but we're going to join the team on some of their tests. We're sworn to secrecy on a few of the finer details, but we'll give you our initial impressions after driving it out here in the desert. Enough talking though, let's take it for a spin. So obviously the roads we're on here in Death Valley are unlike anything you'd find in the UK, and the engine details are being kept a secret for now, although we've been in a convoy of 4 different Sportages with a variety of different powertrains. Think a 2-litre turbo petrol and probably a V6 as well, and 2 and 4-wheel drive too. And I have to say, even these initial impressions, it feels like a comfortable car, a bit more grown up than the old version perhaps. The driving positions are really good, upright, giving you a great view out of the car, and even though this is an early prototype, the build quality feels really, really good. All the materials and the buttons, the fit and finish is actually really impressive. Normally when we drive these kind of cars, it feels a bit rattly and not quite well screwed together. And if you look around the cabin, you can also probably tell that it's wired a bit like a BT telephone exchange. That's because the HVAC team here, and that stands for heating, ventilation and air conditioning, they are wiring up as many different sensors as they can, up to 60 in the car, and they're taking different readings from those things all the time while they do different real-world tests, but just in extreme temperatures to try and get the car to react. They'll be doing heat soaks, stop starts, that kind of thing. As you leave the car for about half an hour up to an hour, it reaches almost 60 degrees centigrade, and then you hop in, you close the doors, try and capture as much of that heat as possible, just find out what the reaction's like to people inside, but also the engine itself, the oil temperature, all that sort of thing gets measured, tested, and then the data gets fed back even to the US, but also back to Kia in Korea to make sure that they can get the final sign-off just right for the US before it goes on sale. It's hard to overstate the importance of the Sportage to Kia in Europe, but particularly in the UK. To give you some idea, the current model is about a third of their sales mix, and last year Kia sold as many Sportages as Audi did A4s. So the pressure is really on for this model to deliver, and in a packed segment full of very talented rivals, that might be a tough job. So what do we think after testing it in Death Valley? Well, it's far too early, obviously, to give a full verdict. but I have to say Kia are really aware of the fact that they've got the design and the quality to match the very best in this class, and all that they need to do now is set a blueprint for the DNA of what Kia is like to drive. It's only been a short test, but all the ingredients are here for this car to deliver exactly that blueprint and help Kia be a real success once again in the crossover class.
To watch an expert review of the new Sportage's biggest rival, the Nissan Qashqai, click on the box on the right-hand side.